So as we know, AT&T and Warner Bros. Is essentially being bought out in a merger, although they're calling it a merger, and it will be called WarnerMedia Discovery. There's this huge update on when the deal will close, and it's going to have massive ramifications for the whole of Warner Bros., HBO Max, etc. So, yo, what is good, YouTube? Warstu here. If you are new around here, make sure you subscribe to never miss any of the videos. Check us out on Instagram at Warstu. Check us out on Twitter, WarstuG, aka Warstu. So this is coming courtesy of Deadline with the headline, WarnerMedia Discovery deal on track to close in the first half, but details sparse. We have our go-to strategy ready, Discovery CFO. Now what is interesting, if you remember, David Solaski, who will essentially be Toby Emmerich and Walter Hamada's boss, he's essentially going to be taken over. He will be cleaning house. If you remember, he says, Warner Bros. Discovery, the stuff dreams are made of. And he had that famous line when he says, we're about getting the talent back, getting the creative back, and giving the fans and the customers what they want. So executives on both sides of the $43 billion WarnerMedia Discovery merger again confirm the deal is on track to close by the middle of next year, but details otherwise remain very scarce on the combination of how they reshape the media industry. This will be a massive thing for the media going forward. In the presentation of the media conference yesterday, Discovery CFO and AT&T CFO Pascal said they don't expect regulators' roadblocks to block the transaction. The telecom giant agreed in May to spin off WarnerMedia, which will combine Discovery to create a behemoth run by Discovery CEO David Solaski, who is all about giving the customers what they want, which is something Warner Brothers doesn't seem to be doing at the moment. Now, this is a really cool line that was said. We've got our ducks aligned here, but obviously, as you know, we're not in a position to speak about that right now. He added in response to questions by Jessica, an analyst for the Bank of America. Now, essentially, there is a really cool line here, which basically does confirm in a sort of way that yes, we will be getting the Snyderverse potentially, but more the fact they will be delivering more upon what we want. So this is a line here from yesterday's meeting. Discovery is setting up our integration management office. He said there's only so much you can do in terms of real detail work for closing the deal, as you would imagine, but I'm very pleased of how the team has been set up. The strategy then as now will be aligned around the customers' wants. As you know, the customers want some transparent DC films that connect. They want the Snyderverse. So this line here, we are aligned with giving the customers what we want. Then you go back to what he said when the story initially broke, where he says we're about getting the creativity back, bringing the flair back. But let's paraphrase him properly. So in an article from the Hollywood Reporter back in May, Discovery CEO Dave Solaski on WarnerMedia deal, relationships with talent will be #1 priority. And by saying giving his customers what they want, it's pretty much the same thing. So talent, creativity equals better movies. As you know, Warner Bros. Has a massive slate of movies. They've obviously got The Matrix, they've got all the Warner Brothers movies, they've got so much in their catalog, all the horror movies. But it's interesting that his words were bring the creativity back. Discovery CEO has said his #1 priority will be building relationships with creative community, and he plans to spend time in LA and New York, anywhere where the talent is based. I will be anywhere in the world the creativity are, to strive to create the best creative culture, Solaski said. We want our company to be the place where people that want creativity, they want flexibility, they want stories, they will come to us. Interesting. That is something that Anson off, that Toby Emmerich, that Warstu, that Walter Hamada, they seem to kind of inject themselves into a project rather than letting the creative do it for them. They're like, no, this is how we want it to do it. This is how we want it done. The story of WarnerMedia Bros. It's a story of everyone in our industry. Success is about creativity, talent in front of the screen and behind the screen, fighting for the culture that creates the vision, he said. So for me, the fact that he's saying it's still #1 for the customer wants the Snyderverse, customer wants better, more transparent Warner Brothers DC-based movies. I think David is the only guy that can get it done. We had a lot of faith in Jason Keeler, and to an extent he was behind actually getting the Snyderverse, the Snyder Cut released, but that kind of fell through essentially. Well, we got the Snyder Cut, but the rest of it fell through, didn't it? So that wasn't cool. But David Solaski, he seems to be, if he would give the customers what they want, but who are the customers? We are the customers. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Anson off Toby Emmerich and Walter Hamada when this actually happens, because we don't know what their position will be. Do we? No, we don't know their position at all. So they all could be fired. We know Toby Emmerich's contract is running towards the end because he tried to get a job at Netflix, but they rejected him. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. And it is interesting, if you do look at the Flash movie and all the behind the scenes, you can tell that they've been told they have to keep the Zack Snyder continuity because it's literally a Zack Snyder movie without being a Zack Snyder movie from a continuity point of view. The fact that literally there's so many different Snyder hired based people in that movie, I think it's going to be under the same continuity as the Flash movie, which is really cool, because realistically, as soon as Discovery comes back into the picture the first time, they can pretty much take over and be like, yo, Zack, come. I still think that Zack Snyder knew all about this, because in that interview with Tyron, he was like, I've not heard from Warner Brothers at all. But he started firing a lot of shots the day before the merger news came out. So to me, at least, it's pretty darn obvious that Zack Snyder knew what exactly was coming up before it happened, because he made it so obvious that he knew. So Zack Snyder's a busy dude. Obviously, if we are going to get Justice League 2, Justice League 3, it will take multiple years, but all hope is not lost. So we know at DC Fandom, there is at least 3 unannounced films, which they should be revealed during the DC Fandom event in October. Speculation could be anything. I still have been told, unofficially, rumoredly, that Man of Steel 2 is still high up at Warner Brothers, but for some reason they don't want to reveal this information yet. And as I said, all the information I knew and was told about the Black Flex series happening, I still believe it's true, but it all depends if Discovery has any inkling or any power over what is announced, because even though they're announcing movies this year, they're not going to be to at least 2023, 2024, I guess at earliest. So they literally could announce anything. Could be the Batfleck, could be Justice League 2, could be a second Flash movie, could be anything literally. So let me know down below, guys, what do you think they're going to announce at DC Fandom? We do know there is 3 unannounced films to be revealed at DC Fandom 2021. So it will be interesting to find out what these are. There are rumblings that Poison Ivy and Harley want to get in a movie, which I don't personally care for, but it will be interesting to see what it will be. So like always, guys, let me know down below. What do you think? Do you think Discovery will restore the Snyderverse and give DC fans what they actually want? As we know, this is much bigger than this. Do you think Discovery can get Christopher Nolan to come back because his next movie is with Universal? Copyright claims and copyright strikes literally every YouTuber's video. So covering that movie and them traders are going to be very hard. So like always, guys, a little update about what's going on with the Discovery deal. A little bit about DC Fandom, the 3 unannounced movies. It could literally be anything. No point guessing, because it could literally be that wild fielded. And do you think we're going to get Justice League 2, 3 in the Batfleck series? Because the information I was told, it's just been put on hold by Toby Emmerich and Walter Hamada, as far as I've been told. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Warstu. Check us out on Twitter, WarstuG, and we'll get you in another video very soon, guys. Catch you later.